Hello and welcome to this week's angling vlog. This week you join me out on the bank and we're in search of silvers on the whip. So it's been a bit of a manic start to 2025. We had them floods over Christmas and then we had that hard frost you can see on screen now. So a few days ago I picked up some maggots and I was hoping to come on this venue on a nice cold winter day. But as you can see on screen now, conditions have dramatically changed, the thaw has happened and conditions really couldn't be any worse. So as an angler I'm always super prepared for my sessions the night before, doing all my prep, making the bait and thinking about what I'm going to do the next day. Today is the complete opposite. It's about 10:30 in the morning and I've decided to rush through to the venue, and as you can see on screen now, the side tray reflects that. We've got some old pinkies that are mostly casters and we've got some bread. So with that said, today really is just about getting out on the bank in the fresh air and hopefully getting one or two bites. Venues like this I really do love because you never really know. It could be amazing, it could be rubbish, but that is the magic of fishing. Let's waste no time at all, let's get on the seat box and make a start. So the venue really is one that most people would walk past and wouldn't even bother fishing. It isn't the pretty banks that you see on commercials, most definitely, but it's wild and it is a trip into the unknown. That's the seat box, and as you can see I've got my side tray. The keep net's in, you've always got to be confident. There has been some good signs, there has been one or two fish topping. The little brook has got some colour in it, but it has got quite a bit of pace, and it's that pace today that has made me decision to use a stick float and not a whip waggler that I'd planned. But you can see there, looks beautiful. And hopefully, with this colour in the water, there'll be one or two fish about. So nice simple tactics, not loads of gear, keeping it nice, simple and real. So the setup that I'm going with today is my 8 m Preston Innovations whip. And when I was deciding what whip to buy, one of the things that made my decision was the fact that there's only the top 3 sections of this that are telescopic. So from 4 meters to 8, it's take apart. So I'm fishing at 4 meters today, like you can see, just enough to reach to the middle over there, and we can get all the way down to where I think we can get bites over that period. I was hoping today to use them whip wagglers, but there is a bit too much pace on the venue and I do feel like I'm going to have to hold back. I've got a strung out set of number 4s down to a 2-pound hook link and a tiny size 20 hook. So as you can see, looking at the side tray there, the maggots that we're using, there's a lot of casters in them and pinkies. I did get a pint, but I made the mistake of actually leaving them out, and a lot of them have turned in the couple of days since. What it did allow me to do is go back to being a kid. And as a kid, when you asked your dad for some money for maggots, which were always bronze, and he said no, you got working with the bread. And that is liquidised bread. As you can see on screen now, you just tear the pieces up, take the crusts off, put a bit of water in, and you just mulch it together until it's liquidised, and you get, it's almost like a soup. And I've thrown a bit in the edge there, and you can see it just breaks up nicely in clouds. There's no feed in it, and that's what we're going to start on. So normally you'd have a pole cup to put this in, so I'm jiggling it together a bit, get it into a bit of a ball, and we're going to feed it right down the middle of the swim. Right there. That's all we're going to put in to begin with, and then we're going to go over the top with the bait. So I'm just starting off on the smallest size punch, flicking it over the top. We've got a nice lead up to that patch of bait. That float started right down. That sun is going to be a nightmare, but hopefully it'll go behind them trees in a bit. One of the downsides of getting on the bank a bit later. We're just going to edge that bait over the top of that liquidised bread. That was a bite straight away. I missed him. That's a good sign. There we go. First fish of the day, a small little roach. It's just coming down that line where we put that punch bread. I do apologise if that sun is playing havoc, but there's not much I can do at the moment about nature. But that is a beautiful little roach, and great to get a bite so early on. And the key to this type of fishing is always feeding, and it's very tempting when you get bites straight away to put more food in, but even that bread when it's really cold is enough to overfeed. So I'm definitely not going to be putting any more bread in for a while. Just going to keep going over that ball that we've put in. It's another one, only little small fish, but that's what you expect with bread to begin with. It's the same with the maggots. There's always that bit of the swim where you get your bites, and that's a better roach, that one, the third one. That's a bit more what we've come for. And you can see there in the first 3 fish, we've got up in size already, haven't we? And I'd be happy catching them all day, I really would. It's a beautiful, perfect little roach. So it's dead tempting to want to feed when you start off really well like that. I've got plenty of bait, and believe you me, I've never had a session where I've used all that. You just don't. And these are the worst conditions you can come on a venue. After a big load of snow and it's gone in the river. So I'm happy with the start we've made. So again, we've not fed any more bait. Going straight over the top of that ball. We don't put any maggots at all into the swim because that will ruin it. As soon as these fish start seeing maggot, they'll come off the bread sooner. Some days you can spend all day on the bread, other days you need to move over, but definitely if you start putting maggots in now, it kills it. You almost need to do 2 different lines if you're going to do that to begin with. You see there, you just keep fishing till the bites run out. So I'm just fishing that bait just slightly off bottom, just edging it through. It's just going through the pace now of maybe a fast canal when it's pulling, and when the barges come through. I'm getting plenty of signs of bites, getting loads of knocks on the float, just waiting for that positive dip. And that is what I say a lot on the blog. It's all down to feed, where you put it, and how much of it you put in and where. There's a time and a place for big balls of ground bait on the ribble, and there's times where you've got to be a bit more careful. And we've seen there how the increase in size has come as we've kept on going through. No more food has gone in, just that initial little ball of liquidised bread. Right now I really am fighting the temptation to feed. You know, the bites and the float isn't trembling as much as it's going through, but I really want to hold off till I'm getting on that cusp of no bites before I put more food in. It really is that important, you're feeding. You see there, doesn't mean that they're not there, and you just got to keep going till, if you leave it too late they'll disappear, but obviously they've not got too far to go. You definitely just don't want to overfeed them. Something has changed in the last probably 10 minutes of the swim. The fish have moved further down and they're getting to the extremity of the swim now, so I'm going to feed just a little bit more of that bait just to try and bring them up the swim and where I want them again. So like I said before, with this method normally you'd be using a pole cup and stuff like that to get it out so you can control it a lot more. I'm just going to feed another little tiny ball of that bread. So I've just fed that little bit of bread into the swim, and now I've got a bit nervous because it always makes me nervous refeeding with bread because it is very easy to overfeed. Just hoping now it's going to bring them fish back up the swim a little bit. There we go. And bites before we're getting right on the extremity of the whip. It just shows it just brought them up a little bit. As you can imagine, these fish today are ice cold. Well, that's come just that slightly bit up the swim, and I said at the start you can catch anything on bread, and as the fish get more onto the bait, so the better fish can arrive. And we've just fed that ball of bait into the swim. most definitely hooked into the best fish of the day. We're only on that light little hook link and a small little whip, and I'm going to get the net out for that one because it's definitely the best one so far. Fish just shows the importance of feeding. We put that little bit of extra bait in and been careful as we fed up to it, and the size of fish has increased. And that's a beautiful roach from a tiny little brook. And the very next cast, another little plump one. And I did talk about memories and growing up as a kid. Leave in the comments down below how it started for you and who got you into fishing. For me, it was my dad taking me on the canal, like I've shared on the channel before. And in later years, on the river, it's been my uncle. The stick float fishing you see, he taught me. So I've been very fortunate to have two very good anglers help me through my journey, and a mate called Gary helped me with the piking at the start. But who got you into fishing and started your journey of making memories? Leave it in the comments below. Unfortunately in fishing we do see a lot of people getting the tackle stolen, and a lot of the time the ones that mean the most are the sentimental bits. And when we're talking about my uncle, this is a bait punch that he gave to me many years ago. It's items like that that, you know, build memories for you. And if anyone's new to it, you punch your bread using a tool like that. It gives you a nice little disc of bread, and there's a nodule at the side there, and your hook goes through that in the back of the bread, and you pull it out, and you can see on screen now how it sits on the hook. But yeah, it's items like that that if you ever did get me tackle stolen would be what I would miss. And your bread on the bank you really have got to look after. Today it's quite damp and overcast, so we should be okay. And what I do is at home I cut the crusts off the bread and then flatten it down with a rolling pin so it's nice and compact, and then pop it in the microwave for 10 seconds and it makes it nice and tacky. On the bank though, you have got to look after it, so I put it in a freezer bag tight, and no air can get to them slices. And believe you me, on days where you get to your second slice, you're a happy man. And as that sun's beginning to come on the water a bit more, there's been one or two fish topping. And yeah, what a lovely roach that is. Coming on the bread. And I'm thankful that we have managed to stay on the bread today, because them casters have looked worse and worse, and them pinkies every time I've looked at them. But that has been worth all the effort getting out to get them bites. You can see now that sun is well around them trees, and maybe that bit of heat on the water might improve the fishing. It's making seeing the bites a little difficult, but we're still getting them. And a little dumpy roach on this whip. Great fun. And if this fishing carries on, it's going to be very hard to leave. There's one or two of these better quality fish now moving into the swim. And my little lad might be in danger of not being picked up. Because I am back to being a little kid. I'm really enjoying it. And this colour in the water most definitely is helping today. And all across the country there's plenty of angling clubs. But over the years I've learned that some of the best fishing, like things in life, is free. Tiny little brook. And a grown man having plenty of fun. So the session does come to an end there now, and as you can see on screen, we've had plenty of bites. I'm really made up with that session today. Those couple of days after the freeze where the snow water is in the rivers can be really difficult, so I'm proper made up today. We've had a few bites, and back in the day when your piece of bread looked like Swiss cheese, you knew you'd had a good day. I really have enjoyed that session today. It's really took me back down memory lane to those days on the canal with me dad fishing bread. I really do hope you've enjoyed this week's video. If you have, please leave it a like and subscribe down below. And all that remains is for me to wish you all tight lines in your own fishing, and I'll catch you all next week. Tight lines.